as soon as you are done watching it, we might be talking about it.
This is good quality content for our live stream.
What, people are watching?
We have
What?
we have 700 viewers right now.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody.
They're currently watching you text Tom.
Text Tom. I'm texting my friend Tom right now.
Alliteratively, might I add. Was that
Uh-oh.
Be Real?
Be real again?
Oh my gosh, it's Be Real o'clock.
It's always Be Real o'clock
Be
when you're
Real
here.
It really is.
Last week you were here at 10:30 was Be Real o'clock. Let me do it this way. Oh, that's funny. Wait till you see this one.
I don't like that sound. Whatever sound that was, it freaked me out. I wish you would never do it again.
Never do. I don't even know how I did it. Was that it?
I think I was asking you not to do it is the problem.
That's funny.
Oh gosh. All right. Let's see.
All right. Wait till you see my Be Real, because
I'm ready.
see your face in the bottom, but not in the
Oh,
top.
that's good. I see that.
Yeah, man. It's tricky stuff.
All right.
All right.
As excellent as this is for our viewers.
Yes,
currently.
for everybody who's watching on YouTube.
Let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing. Let me do the thing over here. That thing that you
That
do.
thing, that
Oh, I've been
thing,
recording this whole time.
that
All right, stop that.
thing.
Delete. All right, here we go. What was the title again?
Hell if I
Time
know.
to Fly.
That's the one. Bing bong, bing bong, bong, bong,
Nope.
bong, tss, tss, ah, tss, 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 ah.
All right, stop that. I'm going to delete that. Here we go.
Oh boy.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, it's time to fly. Intro music.
Oh, that's gotta make the
Oh, it's going
real.
to. Hello, we're recording a podcast. You're live on our podcast right now.
This is professionalism.
This
at
is
its finest.
professionalism.
Who is that?
It's my son.
Oh, great, Trey.
Hi,
He doesn't have
Trey.
a mic now either.
No, not now. Nobody knows what we're talking about. All right. I'll see you when you get home. All right, love you. Bye.
Want to try that again?
Let's try this one more time.
Oh my goodness.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, it's time to fly.
Think a happy thought.
Intro music.
Hunting is a complicated profession.
Second time's a charm.
Second time is always much
Nailed
better.
it. And we're back.
So
we're here.
I couldn't dance as much because for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see that the jack for the headphone jack is
Your jack
bent.
is bent, Rob.
My jack is bent,
You gotta
and I had to hold it in
unbend that
just the
jack,
right
brother.
place to get that
Ay,
sound
ay, ay.
effect to work.
Never want
properly.
that. Well, we're glad that we got it to happen.
Yes.
On this, and I got to get a nice little quip in there on the second time. Anyway, a nice Peter Pan reference. So
There you go. Yes.
I managed to land it.
You got it the
Um,
second time.
I did. But we're back.
We're back.
Bantha Milk Podcast. I'm Nick,
Bantha Milk. I'm Rob.
and that's all we got for you. Have a
That's
great
it.
night.
Have a good night.
We have spoken.
We
Oh
have
no!
spoken.
Okay, we need outro music. I'm just now realizing
We do
don't-
need outro music.
don't
I
do
wish I
anything at
knew
the end,
somebody
right?
who could make music.
What if I just took our intro music and I put it in reverse?
Just played it
like
backwards.
literally, like Helter Skelter style, like whatever.
Yeah. Well, do like some kind of certain number of bars and just keep looping it
I like that.
in reverse.
I like that.
And then instead of a 30-second intro, we'll have a 9-minute outro. So that way we can talk over it for the
Well,
last 9
listen,
minutes.
if it works for Star Wars and Disney
Yes.
to have 7 to 9 minutes of credits,
Of credits.
I think we're allowed a little bit as well.
I agree 100%.
saying.
100.
Hundo.
Hundo. a
Oh,
hundo.
definitely 15 hundo.
15
anyway,
hundo.
So we're back for another episode. It is they released that third episode.
They did.
That third one in the series.
Third in the series of
Ahsoka.
8 of Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm realizing now more and more as I listen to myself talk, I say the word a lot. And like it annoys the hell out of me when I actually listen to myself.
When I hear you,
including
yes.
here or else like I watched video of like my marching band thing the other day, the preview show, and I'm like talking and stop saying you sound like an idiot.
I have fillers also in the
So yeah, just
trust. Yeah, you
freaking
did
hit
it again. Yes.
So I'm going to make it this my opportunity to work on that.
To work on no fillers.
Because if you need a filler word, you must be an idiot. Anyway,
there it is.
there
You just said it again right after
man,
idiot.
That is if that's not poetry, I don't know what is.
That is definite
I'm going to
poetry
take
in
that
motion now.
opportunity to crack this strange. I don't think I had this.
You did not. You have
Okay.
not had that yet. I had half of one. Sherry and I split one.
Okay, if Rob only had half on.
Oh, it's only because she wanted to try it, so she opened it up and she shared it with me. So you are drinking orange creamsicle beer.
Yeah, it's called Down East.
Down East.
Orange creamsicle, made in New England. I guess that's Down East Brewery.
I guess Down East Brewery.
Limited release. The best part of an orange creamsicle is the orange and the creamsicle. The worst part is the stick. No stick.
No stick.
Look at
it's
that.
in a can. Look at that.
Oh, and then if you hold it upside down, we know it's upside down. Why? Because the best way to drink our unfiltered cider is to shake it up first.
Oh, it's a cider, not a beer.
Okay, and by turning the can over to read this, you're halfway there. Give it a shake, wait 10 seconds, and enjoy it. I'm really glad I read this. You did not prepare me for this.
I didn't even know because Sherry opened the last one up and just gave it to me and said, "Drink this."
Wow. All right. So yeah, I was about to just crack the lid.
Yeah.
So,
now you know you have to turn it upside down and shake it.
Orange.
Is it written there? No, it's written right side up. It was just the
just
orange
this part right
there.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's written upside down.
Okay.
All right. Now I got to flip it back and wait 10 seconds.
Wait 10 seconds. Well, while you're waiting 10 seconds, I'm gonna open up my Victory Dirt Wolf double IPA. Dirt Wolf. For our good friend David Filoni.
Dave Filoni, the Dirt Wolf.
Dave Filoni, the Dirt Wolf.
Old Dirt Wolf, they call him. Dirt Wolf Filoni.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, the bottle didn't really. There, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I felt good about that.
Uh-huh.
That is bizarre.
Smell it, right? It smells like an orange creamsicle.
And it is. I'm going to see what kind of pour situation we got here.
So as it's pouring out, it definitely looks orange.
I don't think I'm going to get any head on this because it's cider. So
it's a cider. Yeah.
Here we go. All right. I mean, it looks.
So it's very orangey. I do like it.
It is definitely unfiltered. I see pulp in here. Like literally there's pulp in this beer. That is very interesting.
Yeah. That's the, like a New England IPA is very cloudy also, but that's a cider. So
yeah,
it's not.
Right.
There you go.
All right, I'm gonna give this a go.
So give it a go. Tell me what you think.
Here we
Cheers.
go. Look at it. It looks radioactive on the.
Yeah.
On
look
the
at
video,
2 weeks in a row though. By the way, I got a good pour on my same beer.
I think after 100 or so pours on the podcast, you're finally catching up.
So this is episode 107.
Okay. I don't like it.
No, really?
No, I don't.
Not even a little bit.
I mean. Here's the problem. I don't like oranges.
You're like, yeah, I'll have that. And now after you crack it open,
I don't drink orange
juice. You're like, I don't like oranges.
I mean, like, it's not like I'll drink like if there's orange juice in a mixed drink, I will drink that. Like I like mimosas and stuff. It's kind of Kool-Aid-y. It's not bad. I don't like it, but it's not bad.
If it wasn't for the fact that you don't like oranges, which it definitely has a very strong orange flavor to it.
It's growing on me the more I sip on it.
So when I had it, I remember like the initial taste, very orange creamsicle, like you're sucking on an orange creamsicle. But then it has a little bit of not an aftertaste, but like the tail end taste is definitely not orange creamsicle. More
ends with beer.
Yeah, you definitely get like a beer final taste to it. So,
I'll drink half of it probably as per tradition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything that's not whiskey, you drink half of, so it works.
And then anything that is whiskey, I drink all of Rob's.
You drink 2 of. That's
unless it's scotch.
Right. So that's that. So Nick's orange creamsicle, he would give it a thumbs down. I didn't mind it.
I would say I give it a thumbs diagonally, slightly less than sideways.
Okay. And it's not necessarily the drink's fault. It's just the fact that you don't like oranges.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's not
as we say, the giggling Yoda.
The giggling Yoda.
Like that is just a piss poor drink. Maybe we just did a terrible job. I just think it's
No, because even the
What if we had
reviews
like
of
an
it,
industrial blender? Like we're talking like NASA engineered
yeah,
blender
like
to like so there were no chunks.
no chunks at all. So it'd be
I still think it would suck.
supercharged
I
blending
still think it
going
would
in there.
suck.
Yeah, I think it still would.
No, this isn't. See, that would be thumbs down for me.
Oh,
There's
that was
not,
a
there's not
hardcore
much
thumbs
more
up,
you can
yeah.
go than thumbs down.
No.
So, if we're basing that there, I would, it's not there, but it's not here.
Okay.
Anyway, this is lost for anyone who's not watching us on YouTube.
That's right, because they're not seeing any of this. So
Yeah.
whatever. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, go ahead and watch us on YouTube.
Yeah, Caracal's in there.
Yeah,
and he asked who made the intro music, by the way. Just a great musician, friend
wonderful
of the podcast,
musician.
really a luminary
Yes,
in our time. Like
Mhm.
like just this
an amazing digital music
phenom, really,
phenom,
really
yeah.
like when we talk about Wayne Gretzky,
Right, the Wayne Gretzky of digital music.
But like, I mean, like, how good Wayne Gretzky is at digital music.
Okay,
That's how
good the guy who wrote it is.
It was me. I'm the one who made it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I actually just wrote an entire curriculum yesterday for that.
Very good.
Anyway, that's not what we're here for.
Nope.
We're here to talk about Star Wars.
And
orange creamsicle beer.
Orange creamsicle
Speaking
beer.
of which, Timu a story, Rob. Timu a story.
That's right. So the Lego Lego company.
So we say this with quotation marks.
Well, this particular one is made with quotation marks because the word Lego is not imprinted on any of the little buttons on this, whatever they call that. But Lego at one point in time made a gigantic 1,700 piece T-47 snow speeder, which I am a big fan of. Even in Empire Strikes Back, I remember watching it and being like, "Oh my gosh, those are so cool."
Well, ever since Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64, when the opening scene was you playing on one of these things, I just thought they were so cool.
Yeah, so I love them, and to the point where I was even like, how come we never see them anywhere else? How come they're not flying out in space? So I did a little research on it, and apparently they don't have a hyperdrive and another type of a drive that allows them to actually make it into outer space. And I was like, well, that's dumb. All spaceships should be able to do that. But I guess this is the equivalent to like a car versus an airplane. Like we have,
but
vehicles.
like a Hummer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like because like they have space cars that are like essentially this, but aren't as like I guess tricked out. They don't have harpoon and tow cables and stuff,
right? And giant
and
cannons on them.
But I bet there are like in like Coruscant, if you're driving around, there's that one crap freaking idiot who like drives one of these and like he's got like truck nuts on it.
Yep, hanging off the back.
Yeah, that's what this is in the Star Wars universe.
So once again, this showed up on Temu, which is a fun little app, website, whatever, where they have a lot of things very, very cheap. And it's listed under like building blocks. So what I've come to the conclusion is any of the Lego sets that have been discontinued, some companies in China, or I'm guessing China,
probably China.
Then
Temu is definitely China.
Yeah, remanufacture them and take their directions and take all the pieces and they redesign them and build them themselves. And since they've been discontinued, I guess there's some kind of not law in China about that. I don't know. But anywho, well, that was cool.
You're right.
So it's a replica of a Lego version of a T-47 air speeder.
So it's a replica of a replica.
A replica of a replica, yes.
Replicaception.
It is very cool. It was fun to make. There is one funny thing about it. I thought for sure I was going to be missing a lot of pieces because I'm like, okay, there's 1,700 pieces. This place isn't whatever. And then, a couple funny things. One, when I got done bag one, which happened to be 9 separate little bags, that was bag one, which is what was funny because if you had the real Lego set, there probably would have been 47 different sets of bags. It would be like open bag 2, open bag 3. Bag 1 was 9 bags, probably 200 pieces in bag 1. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be building bag 1 forever. But it finished with the building the seats on the inside, and I couldn't find one of the flat pieces. And I was like, oh, here it goes. It's 1,700 pieces, but mine is 1,699 because they missed one. I did find it on my kitchen table. Like it was just underneath something else. I was like, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
but it had two little rubber bands to hold the bottom pieces up. And mine only came with one rubber band, or one rubber band like fell to the ground or something like that. And I didn't notice and whatever. So the fragile pieces that aren't the true block pieces, they seem to be a little less uh, accurate in making sure that they have them all. But whatever. But it was fun to build.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty. It's very fragile because and I'm sure the original Lego version was also very fragile as well, because they had to make it look like the ship, but they couldn't figure out how to do it in a non-fragile way because there's a lot of compound angles and stuff like that. So it's super cool. I wanted to see if the 1600 piece set would be just as good, and it was. So I'm sure if you want to go on Temu, they have the AT-ATs. Do you know what AT-AT stands for?
All terrain attack transmissible. I don't know.
Transport. Very
Transport.
good.
All right, I'm close.
Yeah, and because when I was reading, I was like, oh, that's what
all terrain
AT-AT.
scout transport.
The AT-STs, I think so. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So if you want to build discontinued Lego sets and you don't want to pay markup prices for reseller prices, you can go on Temu and look it up and see if you can find one. And they're having more and more of them now that I'm looking. I'm like, oh, I want this one and I want that one, but whatever. So yeah, so that was that. So that's giant piece of Lego, not Lego, not Lego.
For law purposes,
yes.
For the purposes of legality, we have to specify that this is not a Lego product, lest we receive a cease and desist from Lego.
Lego's like, yo, you're promoting things that aren't.
Get that crap out of here.
Crap out of here.
That cheap knockoff crap. That ain't Lego bricks.
I will say this much. The pieces do fit together very nicely. The plastic does feel just like the regular ones. Mega Block, the plastic has a different feel to it than the Lego blocks do, and I feel they don't fit together as nicely as the Lego blocks do. But this one they did a really good job. Other than the fact that there's no word Lego on any of the buttons, it's a fun little ship. So now I just got to make sure that it doesn't break. I said to my kids as I was building, I was like, I really should have crazy glued this one together because it is so fragile.
Yeah, you let me hold it for a second, and I was like nervous.
Yeah,
it was it was creaking a little bit under my fingers.
Yeah, you're like, take it back. Yeah, but it would definitely be one that a good TikTok of me dropping it and exploding into a million pieces would be definitely a hit of getting 27 views.
Yeah. Maybe 29.
Maybe even 29. Yeah. So that was that. Anything you did outrageous?
I never do anything outrageous. I'm a very normal person.
That's good. Oh, one thing I did hear on another podcast, real fast, you have between now and I think only a couple days left. But if you're going to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, Doc Ondor's, where you get the lightsabers from, they have a lot of things that are 30% off. So if you already have plans to go, get a lightsaber now because it's 30%.
I will say, I do have one lightsaber you got from me when you went down there, and it's great. It's Leia's lightsaber. Just yesterday or the day before, I like picked it up for the first time in a while because we have like a stand for it in Vanjie's room. So it barely ever moved. And I'm a little disappointed in the build quality.
Really?
Because there's these rubber, almost like these straight rubber gasket type things that serve as like the white flash on the handle.
Okay.
And they're coming out on the tops. They're like peeling out. And I don't touch the thing.
Yeah.
It sits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still great. It still works. But I was seeing that. I'm like, that you would think that for Disney prices.
Yeah.
And like
you would get better quality out of it.
So, but it's,
yeah.
They got their money on me, and I'm sure I'll buy another one at some point.
At some point in time. Yeah. Sure thing. So that's that. So all right. Why are we actually here? Well, let's promote everything real fast because that's what we need to do as well. So
yeah, we're on the places and
we're
things.
All the places.
We're on Instagram.
We're the Bantha Milk all over the place.
Bantha Milk Podcast on Instagram. Bantha Milk Podcast on Facebook. Bantha Milk Podcast on TikTok. We don't really do anything on that other thing that used to be Twitter.
X, yeah.
The platform formerly known as Twitter.
We were talking about that on the way home today from the away game about how changing the name was the dumbest thing ever.
Yes.
Because you used to say, I just read a tweet. Now
you read an X.
I read an X. Like stupid. It had its whole thing, marketing and branding and everything all built into it.
It's weird. It's almost like this Elon guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
That's weird.
Who could have seen that?
Who could have seen that? when he offered to buy it for however many millions.
$100 billion.
Yeah, and then my favorite thing with that one on SNL, they said he beat out the second place bid of $0.
Yep. Oh no. Poor Elon.
But yeah, so he had something all built in, and then he changes it to X, and now there's nothing.
And now we're not on there, basically.
Now we're not on
but
there. Nope.
we are on Facebook groups. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Sacred Jedi Texts.
There was a funny one that Jeannie posted.
Yeah.
I forget what it is now, but I did say, haha, that is very funny.
I'm laughing already.
You sure are. So,
but we're also a member of the Ears Up Network.
Yes, we are.
Ears with a Z, right?
Ears with a Z.
Check out all their thingers. They've got Scrapping the Vault, the Supreme Resort. They've got
Ears Up,
Puny Pod, Puny
Human.
Yeah, they've got Ears Up. A lot of things I like to mispronounce on purpose.
Yes.
So check out all of the Ears Up Network.
Check out. Oh, this was the one that she. This is the one she posted. How did my father die? This is Luke asking Obi-Wan.
Oh, I think I saw this one.
And Obi-Wan said, "Do you know the game? The floor is lava." Well, he wasn't very good. It was pretty funny.
It's a fair oversimplification, but I'll give it to him.
Yes.
Right. But what is not oversimplified is Ahsoka episode 3.
Ahsoka episode 3. Spoilers, rundowns, all that good stuff. We're gonna do all that.
We're gonna go through. We're gonna charge headlong into Ahsoka.
We sure are.
That doesn't sound. We're gonna talk about episode 3.
Hey, now you just got us
demonetized.
We have to put a E.
Yes,
on our thing
E for
now.
explicit.
Yeah, explicit.
But we are no buts. Rob, come on, give me a break.
Headlong into butts.
No,
what?
Rob.
Hey now,
Robert, you're an all-star. Get the game on. Go play. And now we've got a DCMA strike.
Now I definitely have it. Yes.
Smash Mouth is coming after us with that big
sure are.
Ahsoka
episode
3.
Let's take a real fast commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about Ahsoka episode 3. Time to fly.
This commercial break brought to you by Delta Airlines.
Delta. That was nice of Delta to sponsor us. What? We're sponsored by Delta?
Honestly, though, screw Delta. And Delta and the other one. What's the other one that everyone hates?
Southwest?
Oh, no, not Southwest. The other one, the cheap one.
Oh, Frontier?
Frontier.
Yeah, Sherry and Trey flew Frontier to Vegas.
I bet they'll never do it again.
No.
Yep.
Sherry was like, I'll pay the extra.
Everyone has I flew Frontier best time and I'll never fly it again story.
Frontier's not bad to go short distances because you can survive
from like Philly to New York. like Newark to JFK.
Newark to JFK, yeah.
That
Newark
sort
to
of a
JFK
thing.
you can handle.
Any more than that, you might have some trouble.
Philly to Delaware.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm short. Like I can't even imagine for like you and your leg room and
yeah, and the chairs are smaller. Everything about it is just smaller. So yeah. We flew it to South Carolina. It wasn't bad.
Not as like an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah. I could handle an hour and a half flight on that, but I wouldn't be able to handle.
Problem is, you're spending way more time waiting to get on that flight than to get on that flight.
It is funny that amount of time you got to get to the airport 2 hours early. You're just sitting around and then whatever. But anyway,
well, it's a good thing that Ahsoka doesn't have to worry about all these like baggage fees and getting through customs
and fake baggage fees, and then sorry, more baggage fees.
Your bag is just a little bit overweight. We're gonna have to have you take a couple kyber crystals out of your bag and put it in your carry-on, please.
Now the credits in Star Wars are pieces of metal. Can you imagine trying to carry a whole suitcase full of credits? That would be very heavy.
Very heavy. And like you couldn't get through security.
No.
Like they'd be scanning that metal all over the place.
All over the place. It'd be ridiculous.
It's got to be hell to fly.
That's right.
Star Wars universe.
That's why
Galaxy.
Everybody has their own spaceships then. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but the FCC, or not FCC, that's the other one. The FAA. The FAA.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we don't want to give y'all flying.
We're not.
Stay on the ground.
Stay on the ground.
They're pissed off we have drones.
They are.
They're like, they're in our territory.
They're in our space. Yeah.
Right.
So I unfortunately didn't get to spend enough time doing research on this episode.
I did not get to watch it.
I did watch it. I watched it last night at 9:30. So I was like, ooh.
Me too.
Okay, we could have been watching it together.
That's it, you never look up at the sky and you look at the moon
And you
and
know
you
we're
go,
both underneath it.
we're both watching Star Wars right now. That's
There
what
we
you
go.
think when you look at the moon.
That's what I'm going to do from now on. But I didn't get to, go through and really write down a big rundown. So I do have a little bit of a rundown here.
Oh, I didn't get you for this one either.
But it was only, like you never do it. It was only 36 total minutes.
Yeah.
Which was like, I'm like, oh, wow, this episode went by fast. And then I found out why, because it was so short. The last 7 minutes were credits. So it was less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Episode 1 and 2, big building episodes, 55 minutes, 44 minutes. They released both of them together. And then the next week, we get a 30-minute episode that was okay.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't amazing. I haven't been blown away by anything yet. You know, I haven't had my, oh my God, I must know what happens next.
Yeah.
Moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that they're like realizing that. I saw something today where like Disney came out and made like a statement about Ahsoka.
Oh, really?
Essentially saying like, hey, it's enjoyed 14 million views and we're really excited about it. And so I think they're like kind of in like, hey, this isn't getting as many views as we'd like.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Let's tell people how many people did see it. So that way you feel like you're on the outside looking in, because you really need to watch it.
And I like it. Like I'm not sitting here bashing it. It's far and away better than Book of Boba Fett. Let's put that out there. But yeah, it was a good episode. I just don't understand. Like, does Disney really not have the budget to do like what HBO does? Like HBO can put out like 10 to 15 episodes in a season of hour content, like Game of Thrones, 55 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes every episode.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have the same CGI needs necessarily, but I don't know. It just seems.
I think Disney is letting Dave Filoni do what he wants to do. And I think his thought process is, I'm going to give the best story I can. And it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get to the best story that I can.
And that's, and again, it works out well for people like us, but that's the problem with the release once a week model versus the release all at once model.
Yes.
If this is one big story that at the end of it, we're all going to go, oh my God, this was amazing. I can't believe the bill. Like, you're making us wait for it, and America is impatient.
Yes.
They lose interest easily.
Yeah. And I think that's
people like us are going to watch every week, but that's not, you're not trying to get people like us.
No, you already have us. You have us no matter what.
Yeah.
And it is also interesting, the people who love Ahsoka versus the people who don't even know who Ahsoka is.
Right.
Like the people who are like us, who have watched Clone Wars and who have watched Rebels and who know who Ahsoka is, are all in.
Mm-hmm.
But I've talked to a couple different people who never saw the cartoons, and they're like, it's good.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know who all these people are.
Right.
It's good. And I'm like,
because they don't have the same connection. Like, we're already invested in the characters.
Yeah.
We've already had character development to build them and to make us interested in wanting to see more of them. Like, what is Hera to anyone who has, like, what do they care about their buddy Ezra? Who's this Ezra that everyone's
Who's this
so
Ezra?
upset
Why
about,
is everybody so obsessed with this Ezra person?
Yeah.
Who is this? If you didn't watch Rebels, you have no idea who he was. So, yeah, and it is, and then it would also I may go back to Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, and I was like, that's what all of the more passive Star Wars fans were like, oh, Obi-Wan, I can't wait. I know that guy. And I would like to see what the viewership was on all those episodes compared to The Mandalorian or even what Ahsoka is so far, because that's the target for the other Star Wars fans, not the hardcore ones like us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, but whatever. So this episode 3 starts, Sabine and Huyang.
Right, they're doing their groovy little like training montage.
Yes,
with the stick and the lightsabers.
Yes,
like the actual lightsabers, not the burning plasma sabers.
Right.
And at the end of which Huyang's like, "Hey, you suck."
He's like, "You're still horrible, not bad, but not good."
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Huyang is ruthless, man.
He is ruthless.
Yeah.
He is hardcore into. Which all that means is, at the end he's going to finally be like, "You are good."
Yeah.
Because they're pushing so much
That she's not, and he
she's
knows.
not,
Yeah,
and
and he
that
knows it.
he's so mean to her because she's not.
And this whole thing that they're bringing in here, like there's some talk online about some people like it, some people don't, about like force sensitivity, and like how Ahsoka is to say essentially saying like everyone's force sensitive. Like
Right.
there's no such
They're
thing as
definitely
force
changing
sensitivity.
the whole mantra, the whole thought process of what it is to be a Jedi and what it is to be force sensitive.
Right.
Because, I mean, even from episode 1 where they were talking the metachlorian count, and then in, was it Mandalorian maybe, where they
M count.
M counts
Yeah.
instead. So and that's even Dave Filoni wrote all those also. So they were saying, it's the force is all around you, but people have to have the M count inside of them as well to be able to control the force or to feel the force around you.
Yeah, and I don't like that much.
Okay.
I like the way they're doing it now.
Okay.
I think it makes more sense. Because like the whole thing from episode 1, and Obi-Wan literally says this, the force is an energy field that surrounds us, it binds us, it holds the universe together, it's in every single thing.
Right.
So like if some person is made literally and of the force, right? Everyone is, then it's silly that only some people can manipulate it.
Okay.
I like that they're leaning into like the anyone can, but you have to open yourself to it, and that's the big problem, is that some people just can't do that. Some people can't open their mind, and she does say factor, or talent is a factor,
Right.
which is like in anything, like even in music,
Mhm.
like I play a bunch of instruments,
Yeah.
right? Like I can learn instruments pretty easily because I know music and it comes more easily to me than other people. But like anyone can learn as many instruments. You know what I mean? Like there's not such a thing
Yes.
as someone who can't learn music. Like literally that doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's going to take some people more work.
Okay. Yes.
It's going to take some people a ridiculous amount of work.
Yeah.
Right. But I always use my buddy Bill as the example. Like I went to middle school with this kid. He, for his entire life, thought he had no musical bone in his body. Until like 5 years ago, he bought a ukulele, and now he like plays ukulele pretty
Okay.
well, like in time, and he's learning new tunes. But again, his whole life said I can't,
Right.
and so he couldn't.
Yeah, and I see the same thing with sports. With we're coaching volleyball. Like there are some kids that in 3 years have developed a lot, and some of those kids have put in twice as many hours to
Right.
get to that point.
Mhm.
There's other kids who, and like you said, it comes down to your desire to do this.
Mhm.
Like Bill finally sat down and started to teach himself how to play, or taking lessons or whatever, but finally figured out that, hey, I can do this.
Right.
Michael Jordan, I think, started it, and now there's this whole thing with sports, and it works with music and it works with anything else. You have to put in the hours. Once the 10,000 hour rule
Right.
is, once you get 10,000 hours, and that's when you should know if you're good or not, type
Right.
of thing. Like, so it would be the same with anything. I know when I was in middle school, I was playing the trumpet, and I couldn't. I also didn't put the hours in either. I couldn't read the music. Like I knew which note was which one,
Right.
but if you put sheet music down in front of me and had me play it, I wouldn't be able to do it right away. I'd
Sure.
have to sit there and either write the letters,
Mhm.
and I knew, B is this, A is this, whatever, like I knew,
Right.
what to do. But it also came down to the fact that I wasn't putting in the hours and the effort to memorize it, to study it, to go, okay, every time I see this note and this line, I got to do this, and whatever.
And when it becomes fluent,
Right.
essentially,
When it becomes
you
fluent.
never created that fluency.
Yeah.
And just like in sports, and just like with the Force, probably in Star Wars, there are going to be some natural determining factors that make you more inclined to something or other. Like someone who's 6'2" is going to be likely more inclined to be better at volleyball than I would.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how it goes. Someone who, like, physical makeup is huge in music too.
Yeah.
So how your lips are, if you have bigger or smaller lips, you have bigger lips, it might be sometimes harder on a small mouthpiece. But I've had some students who like they're pushing, they can't figure it out, and then I like throw them on a trombone, and all of a sudden their sound opens up, and it's like they really get into it. So again, I think, like she said, talent is a factor. You know what I mean? Just like with the fours, I think she's saying that like there are, you know, those people that are born and all of a sudden, like, oh my God, they're making things float, and they don't, because just like any kid, like sometimes a kid will walk up to like a piano and start like figuring out tunes. Like they're just their ear,
and they're like, oh
works
wait,
that way.
okay, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
not
suddenly,
like playing Beethoven.
Yeah,
but they've never seen a piano before. They've like used their ears, and
Yeah.
some kids just, it's in their ears. It always came easy to me.
Yes.
So like I think I like that they're leaning into that with this, and especially with Sabine as like a Mandalorian, and they talked about
And
that.
she even said to her about, your Mandalorian training is getting you through this,
Right. But you can't lean on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, she's been Mandalorian trained for
whole
however many years until she left the Mandalorians. So, she's had all of those years of training to make her really good at being a Mandalorian.
Right.
So, with that being said, I'm sure by the end of the season, in 8 episodes, she's going to be amazing. Because
I hope not. I hope by the end of this season, she's able to start using the Force.
Okay.
That's all I hope they give us. You know what I mean? Like, it seems to me like I don't want them to rush through it. You know what I mean? I like that we're actually, we've seen Luke doing flips in Dagobah, and we saw them kind of like, talk about lifting an X-wing, and and of course they did the like mirror image blast shield thing with the put the thing over your eyes. How am I supposed to see?
Yes.
But like this was, I feel like, the most, I don't know, explicitly training montagey it's been, where we literally took a whole, and we talked last episode about how they took too long on things. I liked the amount of time they took on the training. I thought it was pretty cool.
Right.
And there were a lot of very Ahsoka moments in this episode. I liked her essentially like just tapping her.
Yes.
And like again, it was just like when she said, do you know where I am? And and then all of a sudden she was on the other side. Are you sure?
Yeah.
It was silly, but like that was like kind of like this ninja training almost moment.
100%. And if you look at her Ahsoka's shoes, she has
like
the toe cut out
thing,
and then the other 4. So she has like the ninja shoes as well, which is very, fun to watch, to see all these things.
And but I actually rewound and gave a lecture to Pagan about it and watched it again, because I love what they did at the end of this scene.
Okay.
Because like, they're doing the thing, Ahsoka's kind of toying with her.
Right.
And they like kind of talk about it a little bit and tap, tap. And then there's like one turn where all of a sudden, like for a second, Sabine holds her own. It's never like, oh my God, she's gonna win. But for a second, she's like catching stuff.
Yes.
And then Ahsoka trips her.
Uh-huh.
And she says, anger and frustration can be tools, but they leave you off balance.
Right.
And it was obviously an allegory to the dark side.
Yes.
Right. Like she was able to do that, because she got angry.
She got angry enough that she was more determined to prove Ahsoka wrong.
Right.
But in her anger and frustration, she was losing sight of what the actual purpose was. It wasn't to prove Ahsoka wrong, and it wasn't to be angry that you were being made a fool, basically, because Ahsoka kept going, oh, no, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. And then because she was so determined to be like, oh, that's when she was able to knock her down. And Ahsoka's like, you got to just open everything up to the Force instead of being angry, and just absorb everything from the Force.
And it's also a parallel to what Yoda said about the Force.
Yeah.
Right. When Yoda was talking to Luke about it, he was like, is the dark side more powerful? He's like, no, but it's easier so you can access the power quicker.
Right.
But again, it leaves you off balance.
Yeah.
So like, you could see that as a moment of her actually using the Force.
Yeah.
Like she started using the Force, but she dipped into the dark side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. She used her anger and her frustration to deflect those things. Ahsoka saw that.
Yep.
Used it and
then knocked her back down and schooled her and been like, yeah, this is not the right way.
And for someone who proclaims that they're not a Jedi, she sure is talking like a Jedi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, I think we talked about this last time that I think they're going to lean into this whole Ahsoka says she's not a Jedi, but really what is a Jedi?
Right.
At this point with the Jedi Order gone.
Yeah, with the Jedi Order gone and with so few Jedis left in the world, what is in the galaxy? What is a real Jedi anymore?
I think by the end of the season or the end of the series, she will wind up like reclaiming the moniker of Jedi.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. It would be, I don't know if, is it even necessary at this point with so few Jedi being there?
I don't think it is, but I think that's part of the problem with the Jedi is that it became an order. You know what I mean? Whereas being a Jedi, the Jedi way, you know what I mean, should be what you follow versus like, you know, are you a Jedi?
Yeah.
You know, it's like walking the walk versus talking the talk sort of a thing. You know what I mean?
And I think the only reason I would want her to reclaim the Jedi moniker would be if she was going to try to start up the Jedi
help Luke out
Order again and help Luke out and like bring all the Jedi back together again. Otherwise, I like her being just far enough away that she's like, I'm not a Jedi. I'm really good with the Force, but I don't like what the Jedi did to me, and I don't like the way the Jedi were ruling things. So I'm going to be very helpful to the Republic, and use all of my forces and powers that I can, but I am not going back and claiming that I'm a Jedi and starting anything like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting
we
to
do see her talking to Luke, right? So I wonder because this is all presumably this is all happening after
she has
talk to Luke.
Yes.
So Luke has already found at least one youngling and has started training them. Grogu.
Right, Grogu.
So she knows Luke's out there. She knows that the Jedi are somewhat rekindling in some form.
Yes.
And she's, not there. It's not like she's hanging out with them. So I wonder if we'll see them at some point.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And then maybe we'll see Broom Boy.
Well, one can only dream.
One can only dream.
But I don't think he's been born at this point.
No, he hasn't. Yeah. No, because that was episode 7, 8. Yeah. All right. So anyway, when that's done, then we cut to a scene where Hera is talking, trying to get the New Republic support.
Classic bureaucracy bullcrap
to chase down. Yeah.
And you got that one new guy.
Okay.
That jerk. I don't remember what his name is, but he was not nice. Clearly a bad guy.
Yeah. The senators.
Chancellor or Mon Mothma, right? So
yes, she was Chancellor Mon Mothma. I'm looking to see in this rundown if they have all the names, but I don't see the names.
You got that rundown for me?
You got that rundown for me?
Just faxing this rundown.
Yeah. What exactly did you want on this rundown? Just a simple rundown, just a regular rundown. But yeah. So, what do you think of the holograms being so crisp now?
Well, this is like a Imperial or a Republic capital ship they're on. So maybe it's just that because they're on this capital ship, they get really good reception. They've got like 7G.
7G. They're at 7G, so the reception is super
really great. Like they've got a lot of cell towers on this bad boy.
Yeah. Because as much as visually it's much more pleasing to my eye to see them so crisp and clear and in 4K,
right,
as opposed to the blue with the drastic lines going through it. I think this goes into, which is what some people complained about the end of Rogue One versus the start of Episode 4, that how Rogue One was so crisp and so everything was like new, and then we get to Episode 4.
So should everything in the new movies look like crap because George Lucas in the 70s had terrible budget?
And I guess that's what Dave Filoni is saying is like, look, we can make it look good. This is what George would have wanted or whatever. Right. I don't know. I think it
I
looks
think they're
too
doing.
good.
I think they're doing enough to pay homage to, like, they haven't updated all the like computers and stuff to have
No,
like
which I
holograms
yeah,
and
and
stuff.
and I
It's still
do
big buttons and
yeah, I
knobs
do
and
like that they
stuff,
had giant buttons and
like
knobs and
70s style
yeah,
futurism.
yeah. So I don't
Um,
know. Senator Zion, Xiono,
Xiono,
Ziono,
bad guy,
bad guy. He's definitely gonna be a bad
and
guy.
Hera does not like him.
Hera does not like him at all.
Bone spurs, huh? Kept you out of the war,
Were you
Captain Bone
fighting in the
Spurs.
war? No. You're just waiting for whichever side won. You're gonna just join up with them. Is that what it is?
You got your daddy to write you a doctor's note.
Yeah,
Yeah, my foot hurts. I can't
right.
go.
I can't join. I can't. Oh, you drafted me. Well, I'm gonna go to Canada, and you're not gonna be able to draft me. So
Yeah, I'm going to
there,
the Peace Corps.
going to the Peace Corps. So yeah, so this guy played by Nelson Lee, he's a turd. He's just
He is a
all he
turd.
cares about is his bottom line.
Who could have seen the outcome of that being that they didn't get funding?
I know, right?
Crazy.
What a strange thing that Hera would go to a bunch of senators who probably, if we look hard enough, we probably saw them in what was the last Andor? Was it
Andor,
Andor?
yeah.
And Andor, I bet you these were somewhere in Andor as well when they were on Mon Mothma's house. I bet you
Yep.
we'd see them in the background somewhere. And they're all just rich bureaucrats that don't care. You guys are winning, so this is fine. And Hera's like, look, we need to go try and find Thrawn. And he's like,
No, he's dead.
no, he's dead. This is just another attempt to try and find this what's his name?
Ezra.
This
And
Ezra
again,
character.
70% of the audience goes, who?
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 Who? Who? What's so big about
Why
this
is he?
Ezra guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to be that guy, but it just doesn't look like this new republic is gonna go to great places. I just got a feeling.
I have a feeling that
I have a
within the
feeling
next 40 years, it's all
something
going to go
bad-
downhill
something bad's
real
coming around the
fast.
corner.
Yeah.
Call me a pessimist, Rob.
Call
but
me. I just don't like the way they're running things, and I have a feeling bad things are going to happen.
I might write a letter to a senator.
Yeah, and then as Hera leaves because they all say no, and then Mon Mothma says, "We'll talk."
Yeah, we got to chat.
We'll chat in
in privy.
private. In
Yeah.
privy, yeah. So did they ever talk in private or no? They never.
We didn't get to see it.
We didn't get to see it.
They were
Yeah.
like, we had to chat in private, and she's like, "Oh, my bad. Happy days.
Happy
you
days."
enjoy." And then it's next scene.
Yeah.
And then we're left to be told, "Hey, we didn't get the funding."
Yes, but we did see what we talked about last week, which was
Hera's kid,
Jason,
right?
Jason, Jacen,
yeah.
Jason Syndulla.
Yeah.
So we do get
Green
to
hair-
see
little green-haired
Jason. Yeah,
It kind of seems like they got kind of a crummy child actor to play him.
I think that's typical Star Wars child actors, which I don't. Well,
but like Leia was good.
Leia was good.
Leia was not a crappy child actor.
But Leia was also the star, so I'm sure they did a very extensive casting
right,
for
which
that
leads
one.
me to believe that this kid is not going to have an extensive role.
No, I'm sure they had a cartoon picture of Jason Syndulla
from the epilogue of
Rebels. And they said, we need to find a child actor that looks like this kid.
Vaguely like this.
Vaguely. And they said, okay. And then they asked the kid, how do you feel about dyeing your hair green?
Love it.
And he said,
you're in.
Will you give me $50 more? And they said, yes. And they said, good, you're in.
I'm there.
That's all we need. We need a kid that kind of looks like this cartoon character and is willing to dye their hair green. So we do get to see him. He's hanging out on the ship or on the she's of course, I don't know. She's on the ship.
She's on. So that is actually, I think, I forget what the name of it. Is it Home One or is that
she was on Home One before, so that might be where she is still.
So the capital ship is the same ship that we see fighting that Admiral Akbar is piloting during the Return of the Jedi.
Right. So that's Home One. Yes, that's the main ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the one they're on there.
Yes. And so for those of you who didn't watch Rebels like we did, there was a Jedi, Kanan Jarrus, who was part of
Jedi Knight.
I love Kanan.
What was his other name? He had another name.
He did have another name. We'll have to Google it. Anyway, so Kanan Jarrus was also part of her band of rebel misfits. And They were an item, and at the end of Rebels, if you didn't watch it in season 5, you didn't get to that far yet. I hate to tell you, but Kanan is no longer around.
Caleb Doom.
Caleb Doom. That's it.
That's
yes.
right.
Doom. Yeah, that was good. That was when it got like real trippy.
That was when your little puppy dog on your beer over there.
Yes. The wolf,
screen.
the giant
The
dirt wolf, the dirt wolf. So Kanan Jarrus was a Jedi Knight who survived Order 66 and then was running with Hera
and the gang.
and they were an item. And at the very end of Rebels, we see that they did have a kid. She got herself knocked up before he passed away. Before
he got exploded.
Before he got
He
himself
got exploded while saving their lives.
Yep.
It was very heroic.
It was very heroic. The best way to go out.
He had already had his eyes blown up. He was just trying to get the rest of his body to.
He was just matching his eyes.
Yep.
Yes. So that's why he looks human, because Kanan Jarrus was a human.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, like, when you have a human and a
green Twi'lek. Yeah.
Have a kid, like they didn't get the Leku, but his hair is green.
His hair is green to match her green skin, her green pigment, but no Leku. So whatever. So we got to see him. So we were wondering last week if we were going to see her son, because it was in the end of Rebels, and now we did.
And that's probably they check the box off the list.
Saw the son.
You got your $20, kid. We'll see you next.
And
season.
The funny thing is, well, they're so secretive that it won't even say like an IMDb how many episodes he's in. Probably just in one. But anyway, whatever. Who cares? So that's that. So then after she's done complaining to them about we need more money, they said, no, you're not getting anything, because all you want to do is just go find Ezra. Then we go back to Ahsoka, right?
Sounds about right. It's their time to go to this Denab, right? The Denab system, or whatever it is.
Yes. So
go to
after the training session, Ahsoka and Sabine sit down the Star Wars version of a conversational pit, and they discuss the nature of the Force. This is when they're in there. This was neat because where they were training, she pushed a button on the wall, and magically out of the ground came the table and chairs. And it was a multi-purpose room. Nice. It goes a training room. It can be your kitchen. One of the chairs can go down, and then a TV screen will come down, and then you can
for
watch.
Only 5 easy payments of $499, it can be yours.
It can be yours.
You just got hooked into an ad, folks.
That's right. There we go. The kitchen of the future.
The kitchen of the very distant past.
The distant past.
In a galaxy
far, far away. So then they're sitting there, and this is when Ahsoka is telling her that you don't need to be a Jedi. You can train yourself, blah, blah, blah. You can learn how to do it and everything. And then Huang once again says that she is bad. She's not cut out for this.
We got a hum now.
Yes.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
There we go.
It is.
She's not cut out for this. She's never been a candidate for Jedi training. Basically, she's bad. But Ahsoka makes it clear that she doesn't need her to become a Jedi. She just needs her to be competent in the ways of the Force so that they can defeat the likes of Shin, Baylan, and Morgan.
Well, we hear a lot in Jedi and canon about like dark side users who are not Sith, but they use the Force, and they're Sith assassin or dark, Force wielding assassins. I think that's a large untapped market that the Jedi have ignored for too long.
Yeah, and this goes right along with, like I said, I'm reading the 3rd book from the original Thrawn book series, and I'm at the point now, I'm actually almost done it, but Luke was taking Mara Jane. They were all going to that mountain where Thrawn had all of his artifacts stored.
The Emperor.
Yes. And while they're walking there, he's trying to get her to be more Force sensitive and to use her Force powers more than what she had known how to do and things like that. And I feel this is a rehash of that type of thing, where Ahsoka's trying now to get Sabine to do the same thing. And then after the chat, Hu Yang reveals that the ship scanners can't quite figure out what the heck is hovering near the Seatos.
Cetos. That's the name of the system. That's right. Cetos.
Yes, where they track all the transport ships.
So I guess we got to get in real close.
So we got to get closer because there's something hidden around the other side of. Oh, and this was another thing where the droid pulls. She goes, "Take us out of hyperspace." So he does, and then they complain that he took him out too far
early.
away.
Yeah, like you just told me to do
You
it.
just told me to do it, and she's like, "Oh, it's training," and she's like programming, and
Standard Jedi protocol.
Standard Jedi protocol is to come out far away and evaluate the situation first before going headstrong into it. So all of this is the first half of the episode. There's not much that really happened. You know, we see the training montage, we see her beg for money, and they say no.
The first half was largely exposition. The second half was largely action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes of dogfight, space battle, craziness. Because I don't know how the hell Ahsoka got that ridiculous space helmet on over her tendrils and stuff so quickly,
and
then got it off so quickly.
Yes,
it must be one of those like the Stark Tech sort of thing where
just grows around her or whatever.
Yeah, but
so now they're far away. They start to get closer, and as they get closer to try and figure out what this thing is, then suddenly bad guys start showing up, which
including
I liked.
Blondie.
Yes, Blondie
Shin Hati
and
Marok. Yeah.
I did like these ships.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, but they're cool.
These ships were fun. I don't know what their designation is, but
Sabine really sucked at shooting.
Yes,
which was confusing me.
Which was very confusing.
I mean, it was nice. I guess it was kind of driving home the whole like, Ahsoka was doing her thing, and she was trying to just let Sabine do her thing, and they didn't start accomplishing anything until they actually both started working together as a team.
Right. Which this was a very like a moment of we're not going to get it done until we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that moment. Oh yes, now that we're a team, now we can do anything because we're together.
Yeah.
Yay, we're a team.
Yeah.
Which
bit on the nose.
Yeah. And like I haven't seen, even in Rebels, it was just like go back there and shoot them, and they just went back there and they shot them.
Right. It was never like they were really working together like that.
Yeah.
If it had been like that, then it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was nice, I guess.
But the little dog fighter ships that were chasing them were very reminiscent of World War II jets and planes in World War II, like not B-52 bombers, but the smaller ones, the Mustangs, the P-51 Mustangs,
like the prop planes,
the prop planes and stuff. And they had a really neat look to them and a very cool feel to them, and even the sound effects to those ships that were flying when they were flying by, they definitely had a distinct sound to them as well. But yeah, so they're fighting, and my favorite part was you had the two main characters and then 7 other people who all had the same helmet and mask and armor on.
I wonder which ones are going to get out of this alive.
Oh wow, look at this. Suddenly the clones, all the other guys,
at one point it was down to just like Marok, the Shin, and the red shirt.
Yeah.
And Peg and I were just sitting there like, well,
the red shirt's going.
One of them's going soon, and then boom.
Then there he goes.
Could you imagine if that guy got out and like Shin Hati just died?
It would have been great if Shin Hati died instead.
And then,
so speaking of Shin Hati and speaking of Baylan, the other Jedi, Baylan Skull, 2 rumors around that people are hoping, complaining, wishing, whatever the may be. Trey sent me a thing that said Baylan Skull is a clone of Luke Skywalker. I was like,
so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all.
And for a second, I was like, nope, because he's older than Luke Skywalker, but the clones do age more.
Right, but there's also like record of him.
Yeah.
And his lightsaber.
True. Very good. Yes, there's record of him. So that one's shot down. And then the other one, and I think you might have even said it last week, where Shin Hati was Omega.
Pagan had floated that, and she actually floated that again today. I don't necessarily know that it lines up. I mean, she's blonde.
Right.
That's about all
That's about it. Yeah. And would she be that angry if the Bad Batch characters all get killed off, that she would turn to be not even a dark Jedi, but just a bad guy, would she be that angry that she would go to the other side? I don't think so. So I don't know.
I think Star Wars fans are just they're always looking for connections.
Yeah, they're trying to connect everything together. So as we said, the dogfight was fun.
I like she's actually a Palpatine.
She's a Palpatine. Yes, she's a Skywalker.
Yeah, they're all Palpatines and Skywalkers.
It was fun. Like you said, at one point, Sabine's in the back. She can't shoot anything. She's yelling at Ahsoka. Ahsoka's yelling at her. And then they go, okay, well, instead of arguing over this, and I even think your droid buddy might have even said, oh, this isn't going well or something like that. And then Ahsoka like channeled her inner Jedi, her inner mom thought process and said, okay, instead of arguing with her, we have to get along.
Yeah, it was like one of those moments where she's like, I guess I'll be the bigger person.
I'll be the bigger person. All right, what do you need me to do? Yeah. And so then she's like, okay, when I tell you to go down, she's like, all right, whatever. Hey, now.
Rob. Hey, zing.
So she does. They start to cooperate, and then they're knocking off bad guy after bad guy after bad guy. They finally get close enough to the ring, and the droid goes, oh, I got it. And then they get shot to the point that as they're going through the ring, and the leader, I love how she's just standing there the whole time going, go ahead, kill them now.
Elsbeth,
go kill them now. They're done now. But then they float through the ring because they were shot enough that it knocked everything out, but of course doesn't blow their ship up.
I mean, why would it blow their ship up? That's crazy to think that turbo lasers from an enormous gun,
giant cannon turbo lasers,
would blow up a tiny little ship. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
We just saw 7 ships explode. Why would this one?
Why would this one explode? Yeah, so it's floating. The robot is knocked out cold. I don't know how he got knocked out, but it must have been the electric surge from the turbo lasers blowing up the ship.
And then Ahsoka goes full freaking astronaut.
She goes all Princess Leia, knocked out cold.
Honestly, that's what I was like. I was like, is she gonna just go out there and use the Force to keep her face from freezing
off?
Like, give me a brace. But they did.
But no, she jumped into the spacesuit in record time.
Very custom, clearly spacesuit.
Oh yeah,
like that wasn't one she just picked up a one size fits all.
No, that is not at the Army Navy store.
That wasn't off the rack.
That was not off the rack.
That was a special order.
But yes, and then the fact that she's out on the wing.
Well, let's shoot her.
Let's shoot her instead of the whole ship. You got a giant ship. No, don't shoot the ship.
No, we got to shoot her first.
The smallest little thing on here.
We're going to shoot the ship after we kill her.
After we kill her, then we'll shoot the ship.
Why would we do it the other way around?
Yes.
Stupid.
No, that makes absolutely no sense.
If we shoot the ship, then she'll die. We want to kill her first.
We need to kill her.
Come on.
Yes, you got to
think your
think
head
about
out of your
this.
ass.
Yeah. So it was pretty ridiculous.
And we got Ahsoka doing flip flops in space. And as cheesy again, some of these, I don't know if it's just because it's Ahsoka, but sometimes when it's really cheesy, it doesn't piss me off because it gives me Ahsoka vibes.
Yes.
So like when I don't know why, all of a sudden she flips around and she chops off like one of the wings.
Third guys, the wing for the third guy,
and which is great and ridiculous. And inside the thing, she's like, "Oh my god, oh Ahsoka!" And then all of a sudden, you see her floating by. Everything,
right? Everything all right. As she's just floating out in space because she did a
very
flip,
cartoon-like.
Yeah, she did a flip, and as she chopped it, this ship also like banged into her. So she just started floating out in space, and I'm like, oh my god, like. I'm just thinking when we had that thing called the space shuttle and people used to have to do like spacewalks all the time. They were like tethered to it because otherwise they kept floating. Like you're not going to be able to get the space shuttle to turn and go get them or anything like that. Now, obviously the space shuttle isn't real and Star Wars is real. Clearly. And they can do so much more with a ship that has no power as she's floating around. Yeah. I didn't see an oxygen tank on her. How is she breathing for so long? Like, what's keeping her, just floating out there? The Force. She's like, hey.
Well, clearly her boots were magnetic.
Yes.
Because like when she got on the thing, she was running, and like I think there was like a little like sound. Yeah. I always have to remind myself with Ahsoka too, whenever I think something's kind of ridiculous, that like there's that amazing scene where she like jumps out of a ship and tumbles down to the floor of Coruscant on exploding ships.
Yes.
And I always try and say, all right. let's try and imagine Rosario Dawson doing that.
Right.
Okay, is this ridiculous compared to that? Okay,
which is more ridiculous. And the fact that, since Ahsoka was so confident in everything that as she's floating, she just like almost like she's like laying on a pillow. Like,
yep.
You okay in there?
I'm good out here. What's that?
You want to come like get me anytime soon? There's only 2 people left who are going to try and kill me. So come save me, maybe. I don't know. So as she's floating out in space and doing her lightsaber acrobatics, Ahsoka or Sabine is underneath different panels in the cockpit, and then finally gets it hot wired back together again. She touches the red and the black wire together, and everything.
Of course, Huyang pops right back up. What I miss?
Oh
wait, but we completely stepped over the fact that we saw freaking Purrgil.
Well, then once it gets started.
Oh, that's right, because he hasn't woken up yet by that point. But that's right.
Yes,
they get it back together, and those Purrgil. So I have a deathly fear of large marine life.
Okay.
So like when I see videos of people like on a boat, and then all of a sudden like a humpback whale will be there.
Okay.
It terrifies me.
So then you shouldn't watch last week's episode of 2020 because they did a whole thing on this guy who's a what's the word? Well, not a whale watcher. I forget what he called himself. Darn it, I can't remember. Anyway, they were looking for sperm whales out in the ocean because they're setting up more sanctuaries for marine animals. And this treasure hunter, but he's not searching for treasure, but he's like helping the marine the animals and stuff like that. He was a professor at some big college in California with marine life and stuff like that, like teaching about marine life and whatever. But now he's like a treasure hunter, basically, whatever. So he's going around and trying to get all these safe zones basically set up because the whales go to this area to breed every spring or every summer or whatever. So keep ships out of this area so we don't kill any of them and stuff like that.
Right.
And they're like, well, what's the biggest thing? Whaling's been outlawed for years, except for in Japan. So that hasn't brought down the population. But what is bringing down the population now are giant cruise ships and everything, propellers and knocking and whatever. So they had video from last year. They were showing this video of the sperm whales sleeping. They sleep
upright, right?
Upright, yeah, standing up
just
straight,
like in the water all around.
Yeah, like exclamation points.
It's terrifying.
So for you, that would scare the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so like, there's just something about like, and I see that, they're so gentle. They want to be afraid. Screw that. No, they can just do this and you're dead.
And you're dead.
And
yeah, they can,
never find you.
but they don't because they're so gentle.
I'm just saying.
Now I'm saying I wouldn't go swim with sharks, but if I could go and swim with sperm whales or whatever, like they were out there and it was a juvenile sperm whale that came. They had this like sonar thing that they could find where they were. And this juvenile sperm whale came up and was like inquisitive, like, who are you? What are you? And like was right next to him. Like their eyeball was right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. But you would have been like, I'm out. I'm terrified. Forget it.
I'm sure I would have been like amazed at the animal and like I like animal, but like it's something about just an enormous animal like that terrifies me.
Sure.
And so these freaking Purrgil,
would
accomplish that.
And they were like whale front squid bottoms. Like they looked just like the Purrgil from Rebels,
and they were enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scale of them was rad. And again, it just the thought of them like just living in space.
Yeah,
like it's a cool like.
Yeah,
like, what do they do, man?
Yeah, they're just like
space,
just like swimming around in the ocean.
Krill?
They're space krill.
Are they going to eat? Like, are they filter feeders feeding on the space krill all around?
They have to eat something, you would think. Obviously,
maybe that's why they have to go into hyperspace because there's such little in the outer space. They have to travel really fast at great distances in order to get enough food to sustain them.
Sure, I like it. It's like the humpback whales where they just open their mouth and just let all the krill come in. They're doing that in hyperspace. Maybe in the hyperspace lanes, there's more other little creatures that they swim through.
It could be that we have a nice symbiotic relationship with them because they clean our hyperspace lanes. Otherwise, there would be all this space debris.
All the space debris. Yes, there you go. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. So this
but don't the 6-pack
Oh
plastic.
no! You gotta
Don't
cut
throw them out in
You gotta
hyperspace.
cut 'em.
Yeah, you got to cut them so that way
Or
they
else all
don't
the
get
space turtles.
the space turtles will.
Well,
Yeah,
they'll get the straws up their nose.
yeah, you don't want that either.
No.
That's bad. Space turtles with straws up their nose is bad. Paper
So,
straws are the way to
Space
go.
turtles with straws up their noses. New band name.
New band. We have to have a new one
That's
every
it.
time.
That's it.
So they fly through. The two bad guys are trying to chase them, and they can't find them because the Purgle are messing with. That's what I was looking for.
You got there.
I
We made it.
You got it. Real tough word of messing. You got there. Messing with their instruments and all that stuff, and then they go and they land on the planet, which the planet was cool down below. All the trees. It was like a cherry tree
Sure.
orchard there.
It's nice that literally they fly directly over them,
Yes.
like 100 feet in the air.
And
Well,
and
I
I
don't see 'em.
I also love that there was one opening just big enough for the ship to land in.
Yep.
So that
Convenient spot for them to land and for them not to be seen.
and them not to be seen, and then we're gonna turn everything off. Yeah, but you can't turn me off.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
And
can.
that was actually funny because she was like standard Jedi protocol, and he goes, "That's fair, I guess." He is one of my favorite. I mean, maybe it's because it's David Tennant, but they're doing a really good job with his just attitude. I think Star Wars excels with droid characters.
Yes, I agree 100%. We saw 2 minutes of Chopper today.
Did we? How much did we?
Not
see
even 2
it?
minutes. We saw 20
Oh, that's right.
seconds.
He was interacting with Jason.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
his little head popped to the
Yep.
side again.
Yep.
He was like, I didn't say it. Whatever. But yeah, so then they turn everything down and they fly overhead.
I don't see them. Do you see them? I don't
see them. They're here somewhere. Let's go find
Pick
them.
up your visual scanning.
Yeah. And then as soon as they fly overhead, Ahsoka's like, okay, we can turn it back on now.
We're done.
We're done.
It was
yeah.
a good little
it was good. We hid long enough.
Yeah.
So then they're just hiding in the forest, and then so Marok regroups with Balin. Ahsoka and Sabine can barely contain their glee at the sight of Purgle as they believe they're finally close to finding Ezra. But Morgan and her crew of baddies want to use the Eye of Sion to travel those. That's what that giant ring is called, the Eye of Sion. To travel those hyperspace migrating paths laid out by the Purgle, and that means they'll likely be getting big Cetos fight between Ahsoka and Balin and Shin and Sabine in the next episode is what this article thinks is what's going to happen
can see that.
next. So everybody's in the same area.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we've got all the main players on the stage here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see either that or I could see them maybe like hitching a ride aboard the thing and like as it's preparing to take off and getting up there with them.
Refresh my memory. Did Ezra when the Purgle flew away the last time and they went into the hyperspace lanes and they disappeared, was Ezra like in their mouth?
No, he was in a ship.
Okay.
So there was it was Thrawn's Star Destroyer, I think the Chimera. They were like both in it. I think he might have been fighting Thrawn.
Okay.
And the Purgle grabbed them with their little squid legs.
Okay.
And even like put their tentacles inside and held him down.
Okay.
And took it with them.
Okay. So that's how they got transported out there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, are these guys gonna? I'm sure the ring of Eye of Sion is going to fly away, and then that's going to leave Sabine and Ahsoka. And I thought maybe they were going to like jump in a Purgle's mouth and go, "Hey, take us there." So maybe they'll talk to the Purgle, and the Purgle will clamp on with their squid feet and take them.
Purgle are creatures of the Force. They use the Force to travel. So one would imagine that a Force user might be able to use the Force to communicate in some way. I mean, I know Ezra did.
Yeah, right.
Ezra had a special ability to do that,
and he was able to talk to the Purgle, right? Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Of the 3 episodes, this would be ranked 3 for me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It wasn't as bad as like the 3rd episode of The Mandalorian, where it was like Frog Lady.
Right.
Episode. I do feel that
everything that happened has continued to move the central plot forward.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, excuse me. And I feel like there was less wasted time on scenes that could have been shorter this week.
Sure.
which I do like. But it's just, we're used to the tradition, especially now with the live action ones, where like the first three are almost a nice complete story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where by the third episode, it's like, oh man, we've had this really like great jam packed, and this was a great kind of conclusion and left us up for this next part of the story. This is still all kind of rising action. I feel like.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Maybe at the end of the fourth episode, if we have this big battle between all of them, and then everybody transports over to try and find Thrawn,
right?
That could be wrapping up part 1,
right?
And it would be a good time too, since there's only 8 episodes. That would be the halfway mark.
Yeah, wow.
And so that would be a good way to end this little fight and then move on to now Thrawn's involved in the show.
Yeah, I do hope we get Thrawn involved in this season, and it's not like a episode 7 go and find him, and then the last seconds of it we get a glimpse of him before fade to black.
Yeah, that would be very
season 2.
For season 2, that'd be very disappointing.
Yeah.
It will be interesting because of all of the Thrawn books that I've read. There's no, like, at least none that I've read so far, where Thrawn has died.
So,
but then when it comes to episode 7 of the movies,
you have not read the book you're reading right now, right?
I'm almost done the book that I'm reading now.
I'm trying to remember what happens at the end of that.
So at this point, they are on their way to the mountain. They're on the mountain. All of the Yosemite or whatever they're called.
I'm gonna hold my comments until you're finished with
this. Okay.
Then we can talk about that again.
Yes, because I mean, like, I read the new Thrawn series, so whatever. So we'll see.
And I didn't finish the new one.
Okay.
So, but I guess in the new one they can't have him die because they're using him here.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Yeah. Finish that book by next week and we'll talk.
Okay. Because I only have like 80 pages to go.
You can knock that out.
Yeah. I was going to read it today, but we had an away game and it was a mess. So
volleyball getting in the way of life.
Star Wars. Don't they know what my main goal is to be Star Wars?
Star Wars famous?
Yeah.
Star Wars famous is a
Star Wars. That's
goal,
a band name.
Star Wars famous?
Yeah.
That is a good one.
That's a band name.
We could tour all the cons across the countryside.
Yep.
Playing Star
Wars tunes and playing rock songs and just throwing Star Wars words in there.
Doing
instead.
Like a Weird Al thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
Am I the Anakin guy?
All right. Yep, there we go. We got it all. All right, so that's our rundown of episode 3.
You got that rundown for us?
Give me that rundown.
Send me that.
How's that rundown coming?
Make sure you check us out where all the pods are.
Yes.
On the Google Pods and the Apple Pods and the Spotify Pods and the other pod things.
All the other pod things. There's plenty of other pod things, but why use them when you have either
YouTube,
Google or Apple, or you can even YouTube.
Watch us on YouTube.
Yep,
that way you can see that despite all protestations, Rob's beard still lives. It's been there for a while.
It's been
made it through the summer.
It did make it through the summer. Although
nope, I'm not gonna hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Know all those.
I'm not gonna tell you.
No, I'm gonna come in one day and be very upset.
You're gonna be very upset.
There we go.
There may be a one-day goatee.
One day.
Yes.
No, you gotta go in stages. Like one day.
So when
this here.
When I did it 2 or 3 years ago, for the month, at the end of the month, I started.
I remember you took pictures of
I had pictures of it with the beard going into the mustache, and then just the mustache, and then everything gone.
I think you got to go here and then let it go down here, and then let it connect to your chest hair.
And let it connect to the chest. Yeah.
I had when I was in my master's in Illinois, there was a guy who went to the master's with me who won a beard competition, and he had that. It was a mustache into his chest hair, and he shaved it around his nipples, down and connected to his leg hair.
Wow.
It was really impressive.
That's a lot of very detailed shaving.
Goals, Rob.
Yes, they're goals.
Anyway, please check us out. Please check out the Ears Up Network. Make sure that you share this with your friends and your friends' moms, because it's one population of individuals that might not listen to us but share us,
but should listen to us. It's your moms. Yes.
But yeah.
Did you see Ahsoka is walking around Disneyland now?
Oh, really?
In Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland.
That's got to be a really uncomfortable costume to walk around in all day.
All that paint and the headdress and everything. Yeah. There's a person that Bantha Milk Podcast on Instagram follows who is a big Ahsoka fan, and she has like video of her hanging out waiting at the dressing room door And in her Instagram post, she said she waited for 3 hours.
Wow.
And as soon as Ahsoka came out, she's like right in her face. Like Ahsoka took 3 steps out, and this girl's right next door with a camera in her face, trying to get a selfie with her.
That's
and
rude.
it's cool, but you could almost see Ahsoka being like, "Let me get to my spot."
Yeah, right.
Like, leave me alone. Like, I just
just finished the shots I took back there that are going to
Yes.
give me what I need to do to get
through this next 45 minutes that I'm walking around this.
Let me get to my spot.
Let me get to my spot. Leave me alone.
It has the thing I can lean on.
Yes.
I need the thing.
I need that thing. So,
so yeah, that's all we have for you.
That
today.
is all we have.
Check us out next Wednesday when we're reviewing episode 4, Ahsoka 4, The Search for More Money. From all of us here at Bantha Podcast headquarters, we have spoken.
We have spoken. May the Schwartz be with you.
May the Schwartz be with